Dear brothers and friends, a warm greeting in the sign of the great Old Ones. In this second transmission, we will proclaim the first manifesto of the true New World Order, which must be distinguished from the false New World Order, that is, the Old World Order. Now let's move on the proclamation of the first manifesto of the true New World Order. In the historical moment in which we live, it is vitally important for human freedom to take note that there is a hidden world guide that tries to manipulate human consciences, to make men slaves similar to machines. Since 2001, the lobbyists of power have been pointing to the global crisis on a period of serious emergency that prepares the ground for centralization and loss of freedom. Faced with a situation of global social emergency, the awakening of consciousness is essential. The awakening of oneself is fundamental. First of all, it is necessary to operate in oneself an inner revolution that is to respect all living beings, beginning to think that we have not come to this world to prey on what we encounter, but to live in harmony with nature. Now, let's move on to the proclamation of the first manifesto of the true New World Order as regards politics. On a political level, the TPJ, Trump-Putin-Jinping triangulation, represents the split of the false New World Order. False because it is nothing but the old world order, supported by globalist power groups whose aim is to feed wars, terrorism, and social unrest. The TPJ triangulation aims at the realization of the true New World Order. The Trump presidency appears as an element of strong breakdown of the previous balances, that is, those established by the globalist lobbies of power. The role of Putin and Jinping must be interpreted similarly. On the one hand, Trump's policy wants to regain the ideals of the founding fathers of the United States of America. On the other hand, Putin's policy aims to review the European Union project with the basic presence of Russia. Finally, Jinping's policy aims at the China cultural renaissance, its economic expansion in agreement with Russia and America. Now let's move on to the proclamation of the first manifesto of the true New World Order as far as human society is concerned. On the social level, there is only one form of government. It includes the spirit and body of man. It is called socialist aristocracy. The spirit of man belongs to aristocracy, the true aristocracy, that is, loyalty. Loyalty to the principle of everything, of being and its manifestation. The manifestation is expressed in the realization of earthly things for the well-being of individuals, who must grasp and cultivate in themselves this aristocratic motto. The transformation of man takes place by spreading three essential concepts: meritocracy, hierarchy, and loyalty. Each of them must be perceived in each individual as a life-giving nature, since the realization in each single individual of these three concepts generate the primary concept of liberty. Socialism, true socialism, that is the acquisition of equal rights, duties, and goods, belong to the body of man. If this goal is not achieved, there can be no equality between men, and since this goal is very far from being achieved, humanity is in the most complete abjection. This shows us that democracy is not applied in human society, and that, in addition to totalitarian regimes, there is a false democracy, the most subtle of dictatorship, since it is invisible. The future of humanity lies in socialist aristocracy, the perfect society. It is made up of peaceful individuals who collectively participate in social well-being. Everyone owns the same good, and there is no disparity in rights and duties. All pursue the same goal, the spiritual development of one's being, the true concept of aristocracy. Now let's move on to the proclamation of the first manifesto of the true New World Order as far as religion is concerned. Historical Christianity is based on the image of suffering and death, that is, on the image of Jesus hanging on the cross. This image embodies the creed of the assumption of holiness through suffering, that is, through evil. Gnostic Christianity, on the other hand, is based on the image of happiness and life, that is, on the image of the god Janus, with his arms and legs open in the shape of an X. This image embodies the creed of the assumption of divinity through joy, that is, through good. The formula of life declares, be happy and dignify yourself through joy. This is the new creed. This is the only true religion. Now let's move on to the proclamation of the first manifesto of the true New World Order as far as science is concerned. We ask to ourselves if real scientists still exist in our day. Probably yes, but most of them are unknown. The known ones are the technicians of science, in the pay of the highest bidder. In fact, as Nikola Tesla himself claimed, science is nothing more than a perversion if it does not have as its own ultimate goal the improvement of the conditions of humanity. And we add that nowadays, science technicians, perverts, the world is full. Now let's move on to the final proclamation of the first manifesto of the true New World Order. Every man and every woman has the right to express their will, to be themselves, to live their freedom. Anyone who dangers to these fundamental rights has no right to live on this planet. Am I too hard on this assumption? No, I don't think so. The world is full of conformists. It is for this reason that ours is an antisocial behavior. In fact, as Nikola Tesla himself claimed, an antisocial behavior is a sign of intelligence in a world full of conformism.